Hi, it's an honor to get to talk with you tonight. I'm about to see the movie right after. I'm very, very excited.
I've seen you on YouTube say how much you want to see this movie.
Oh,
So yeah.
So fabulous, fabulous.
Yes, Marty,
Um,
nice to meet you.
I would love to talk to you. So, where did this idea spark in your mind? How did she come to fruition?
Oh wow! I think if I'm honest, this idea's been forming for so many years. I've always loved horror, and I've always wanted to make something as a queer filmmaker, something about homophobia, and the two things just seem to match. Like horror movies are about fear, and homophobia is a type of fear at its core. And so I wanted to do something like that, and I'd read about things like exorcisms and all kinds of programs performed on LGBTQ plus youth in all kinds of cultures, not just in our own Western cultures, but in all sorts of cultures around the world. And I wanted to do something that explored that. And the more I read about it and spoke to people who'd been through experiences like that or experiences adjacent to that, the more it just felt like a horror movie. And so everything just seemed to point to what this film really is. And that was one of the things that just kept driving me through the whole process.
Do you have any certain horror films that were your kind of main influences for this film that you were like, oh, I kind of want to go in this feeling or this direction?
Wow, there's so many, and I think I've always loved the American classics. Like, I'm a big Carpenter fan. I've really loved everything he's done. Like, John Carpenter films were just such a huge part of my childhood. And the Nightmare on Elm Street films were the ones that I was always sneaking in when my parents weren't looking. I think there's something super disturbing about invading someone's dreams. It's like the most violating thing you can think of in a way. I'm a huge, huge fan of Cronenberg, but of the more recent ones, the Japanese director Kiyoshi Kurosawa was amazing. I made our whole team watch Cure before we made this film, and there's a few little nods to that film, I think. It's nothing like that film, but our film's got a few little nods to that, and it owes a lot to it, I think. So, yeah.
And I would love to talk to you too about how this casting came about, because you've kind of got this emerging horror icon in Australia. You've got someone like Mia Wasikowska. How did you come across this cast?
Wow. Well, I mean, Mia, I've always wanted to work with. I've been a huge fan of hers since The Kids Are Alright and In Treatment and all of her early work. She's worked with some of the best directors in the world, so it was very intimidating, not just to approach her, but when she said yes to work with her. So that was a real honor. It's funny, with Joe Bird, I remember seeing him and talk to me while I was writing the script for this film, but he was so young at the time, I just didn't think he was right for this character. I thought he was an amazing actor, and I knew he was going to go places. But then when he sent his self-tape in a few years later, I realized, oh, no, he's the same age as this guy. I think it was just such an incredible realization for me. And he just clicked into the role straight away. We had really amazing conversations about his own connection to the character and what we both related to about this story. And then with Stacey, you just couldn't deny the chemistry that Joe and Stacey had, and it's become such a huge part of this film. It's the real core of it. I think people maybe think of this movie as a horror movie, and they think about all the scares that we were trying to get, but actually that chemistry between Joe and Stacey was the real part of the film, and I'm so glad we found that. So, yeah.
I think I've got time for one more. So, what did you find in either pre-production or during filming to be the most difficult scene or the most difficult day to get through, without spoiling too much?
Okay, yeah. I told everyone at the start of this film, don't worry about the technical horror sequences, don't worry about that. What's really important is that we get the love story between the boys right. But I realized these two young actors, they were so talented and so incredible and so prepared and so hardworking. That was the bit I didn't need to worry about. I realized, I should have put a bit more time into the horror sequences and some of the technical things. But I ended up having so many people around me who knew exactly what they were doing with that stuff. So I think, there were moments where I felt a little overwhelmed by all that technical work on such a low budget film, but ultimately I think at the end of each shoot day I felt very supported. So, yeah.
Well, amazing. Thank you so much. This is the year for Australian Midnights, and I'm glad that you get to be a part of it.
Oh, thank you so much.
Thank you.